13 beloved actors from the sitcom Phyllis left the stage of life far too soon, their stories hidden behind the laughter they once brought into American living rooms. From Oscar winners to unforgettable character actors, each carried a legacy marked by triumph, tragedy, and mystery. Stay with us, because what happened to them will surprise you more than any plot twist ever written for television. Number 1. Cloris Leachman. On the 27th of January in the year 2021 in Encinitas, California, she passed away at the age of 94. The cause was a stroke, with the coronavirus listed as a contributing factor. Her death marked the end of an extraordinary life and career that spanned more than 7 decades, touching film, television, and stage with unforgettable performances. Her role as Phyllis Lindstrom began on The Mary Tyler Moore Show and grew into her own sitcom, Phyllis, where her sharp wit and comedic timing earned her both admiration and awards. She played Phyllis with a mix of sophistication and insecurity, a woman both confident and vulnerable, who made audiences laugh even while they recognized parts of themselves in her. The character became iconic, and Cloris Leachman's portrayal set a standard for television comedy that still resonates today. Beyond Phyllis, her career was filled with triumphs. She won an Academy Award for her heartbreaking performance in The Last Picture Show, proving that her talent went far beyond comedy. On television, she collected 8 Primetime Emmy Awards, a record that placed her among the most honored performers in history. She appeared in Mel Brooks films such as Young Frankenstein and High Anxiety, where her boldness and humor stole the spotlight. Each role added a new layer to her legacy, from dramatic depth to outrageous comedy. Her personal life reflected the resilience of someone who had lived fully in the spotlight. She raised 5 children, continued to work into her 90s, and never stopped seeking new challenges. Audiences saw her dance on reality shows, guest star on modern sitcoms, and deliver lines with the same spark she had decades earlier. She refused to fade quietly, embracing every opportunity with the energy of a newcomer. The tragedy of her passing lies not in its suddenness, but in the immense space she left behind in American culture. Few performers achieved such range, from dramatic power to comedic brilliance, with the same ease. She was a true pioneer, one who proved that women could carry stories, command the screen, and reinvent themselves again and again. Her memory endures in every rerun, every film reel, and every moment of laughter she gifted to audiences. If you love hearing the untold stories of Hollywood's past, make sure to subscribe so you will not miss the next chapter. Number 2. Robert Alda. On the 3rd of May in the year 1986 in Los Angeles, California, he died at the age of 72. The cause was a long illness following complications from a stroke. His passing ended the journey of a performer who had first captured Broadway and then carried his talent to film and television, leaving behind a body of work that touched generations. His fame was first secured in the 1940s when he starred in the original Broadway production of Guys and Dolls. His performance as Sky Masterson earned him the very first Tony Award for Best Actor in a Musical, cementing his place in theater history. From the stage, he moved into Hollywood, where he acted in films such as Rhapsody in Blue, portraying composer George Gershwin, a role that demanded both charisma and emotional depth. During the 1970s, he appeared in guest roles on popular television shows, including his appearance on Phyllis, where his presence brought a sense of polish and charm. His work on television often revealed the versatility that made him so admired, easily moving between comedy, drama, and musical performance. Audiences recognized his ability to command attention with a mix of elegance and warmth. Away from his own career, Robert Alda carried another legacy through his family. He was the father of actor Alan Alda, whose success on MASH became one of the defining television achievements of the 20th century. Their relationship reflected the tradition of performance passed down from one generation to the next, with Robert's influence felt deeply in his son's work. The Alda name became associated with both talent and integrity within the entertainment industry. In his later years, Robert Alda continued to act, though his health began to decline. Even as illness reduced his strength, he remained a respected figure who had shaped stage and screen with grace. His passing in 1986 was marked by tributes from colleagues who remembered his elegance, his voice, and his ability to embody characters with sincerity. Robert Alda's story is that of a Broadway star who carried his gifts into film and television, leaving behind a legacy that combined artistry, charm, and resilience. His memory lives on through the roles he created and through the enduring success of his family, ensuring that his name remains a part of American entertainment history. Number 3. Clu Gulager. On the 5th of August in the year 2022 in Los Angeles, California, he died at the age of 93. His family reported natural causes, and his passing closed the final chapter of a career that had stretched across westerns, thrillers, and modern cult classics. His rise to fame began in the 1960s when he became a familiar face on American television. He played Billy the Kid on The Tall Man and later became a regular on The Virginian, two series that cemented his place as a Western star. His lean figure, piercing eyes, and restrained delivery made him a natural fit for the genre, and he carried those traits into films as well. Audiences associated him with rugged characters who lived in the shifting moral ground of frontier stories. By the 1970s, he had moved beyond the West, taking roles in crime dramas, comedies, and eventually horror films. He became a cult figure in the 1980s after appearing in The Return of the Living Dead and A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, where his mix of sincerity and understated humor gave unexpected depth to genre roles. His ability to blend into both mainstream productions and underground favorites kept him working steadily across decades. In the 2000s and 2010s, he experienced a surprising revival. Younger directors who had grown up watching his performances cast him in new projects, including Quentin Tarantino, who placed him in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. For audiences, it was a reminder that the quiet strength of Clu Gulager had never really disappeared. Even late in life, he carried himself with the same energy that made him unforgettable in earlier decades. Away from the camera, he was admired as a mentor and teacher, running acting workshops and encouraging younger performers to trust their instincts. His colleagues spoke of his generosity, his patience, and his belief that acting was not about fame but about truth. He lived modestly, avoided the excesses of celebrity life, and remained devoted to his family. The end of his life at 93 brought tributes from across the industry. From the dusty landscapes of Western television to the surreal world of 80s horror, Clu Gulager had shaped multiple generations of entertainment. His story stands as proof that talent, resilience, and humility can leave an enduring mark that outlives the passing of time. Number 4. David Wayne. On the 9th of February in the year 1995 in Santa Monica, California, he died at the age of 81. The cause was complications from lung cancer, a disease that had slowly weakened him after a lifetime of work on stage and screen. His passing ended a career defined by intelligence, humor, and a gift for bringing humanity to every role he touched. He first came to national attention in the 1940s, when he became one of the original members of the Actors Studio in New York. His early work on Broadway earned him recognition as a performer of rare skill. He won the very first Tony Award for Best Featured Actor in a musical for Finian's Rainbow in 1947. And just 3 years later, he won another Tony for The Tea House of the August Moon. These achievements established him as one of the most respected stage actors of his generation. In the 1950s and 1960s, he transitioned into film and television, where his versatility shone. He appeared in films such as Adam's Rib, alongside Katharine Hepburn and Spencer Tracy, and in How to Marry a Millionaire with Marilyn Monroe. His ability to shift seamlessly between comedy and drama made him a reliable presence in Hollywood. Audiences knew they were watching a performer who could add depth to a romantic comedy or weight to a serious drama. Television became another field where he thrived. He was a frequent guest star, appearing on programs that ranged from westerns to sitcoms, and even playing quirky villains in popular shows. His turn as the Mad Hatter in the Batman series of the 1960s gave him a place in pop culture history, remembered by fans long after the series ended. His guest appearances on Phyllis added to the richness of the show, with his seasoned charm and quick wit fitting perfectly into its world. Away from the spotlight, he was a private man devoted to his family. He raised 2 daughters and carried with him the quiet dignity of someone who valued his craft more than celebrity. Those who worked with him described him as professional, generous, and deeply committed to the art of acting. His death in 1995 was a reminder of the breadth of his achievements. From Broadway stages to Hollywood sets, David Wayne left behind a legacy built on talent and integrity, ensuring that his name would remain respected in the history of American entertainment. Number 5. Henry Jones. On the 1st of May in the year 1999 in Los Angeles, California, He died at the age of 86. The cause was complications from injuries after a fall in his home. His passing closed the life of a man who had become one of the most familiar character actors in American theater, film, and television. His career began on the stage, where his talent quickly stood out. He won a Tony Award in 1958 for his performance in Sunrise at Campobello, where he portrayed Franklin Delano Roosevelt's close advisor, Louis Howe. That role gave him national recognition and showed the quiet intensity he could bring to complex characters. His ability to disappear into supporting parts became his signature, and audiences grew to trust his presence as one of stability and craft. In film, he became known for memorable roles in classics such as The Bad Seed in 1956, where his portrayal of the janitor Leroy was both chilling and unforgettable. He worked steadily in Hollywood for decades, taking roles in dramas, comedies, and thrillers. His expressive face and deliberate delivery made him a perfect fit for roles that required authority, suspicion, or understated menace. Television provided him with even greater visibility. He appeared in dozens of series throughout the 1960s and 1970s, from Alfred Hitchcock Presents to Gunsmoke. He became Judge Jonathan Dexter on Phyllis, a recurring role that allowed him to showcase his sharp timing and seasoned wit. As the judge, he brought a mix of dignity and humor that balanced well with the eccentricities of Cloris Leachman's Phyllis Lindstrom. His presence gave the sitcom an added layer of credibility and warmth. Beyond the stage and screen, he was respected as a consummate professional. He was not the type of actor who sought stardom or headlines, but rather one who believed in the work itself. Colleagues often praised his reliability, his intelligence, and his commitment to his craft. He lived quietly, avoiding the excesses of celebrity life, and focused instead on steady contributions to the industry. When he died in 1999, tributes described him as a pillar of American acting. He left behind a career of more than 50 years, filled with roles that supported and elevated those around him. Henry Jones represented the kind of artistry that made television and film stronger. A performer whose name may not have always been on the marquee, but whose presence was always essential. Number 6. Burt Mustin. On the 28th of January in the year 1977 in Glendale, California, he died at the age of 92. The cause was natural, with age and declining health, finally bringing an end to a career that had made him one of the most beloved older faces on American television. His passing closed the life of a man who had only begun acting late in life, but managed to become unforgettable to millions. He was born in the year 1884 and spent much of his early years working in a variety of professions far from Hollywood. It was not until he was in his 60s that he began appearing in films and television, a late start that made his success all the more remarkable. His kindly features, thin frame, and gentle voice made him a natural choice for grandfatherly roles, and casting directors quickly recognized his ability to bring warmth to any scene. During the 1950s and 1960s, he became a fixture of television. He appeared on The Andy Griffith Show, Leave It to Beaver, The Twilight Zone, and countless other programs. His portrayals were usually brief but always memorable, adding touches of humor or wisdom at just the right moment. He became known as one of the most reliable character actors of his time, able to step into a role and make it come alive without effort. On Phyllis, he played Arthur Lanson, a recurring character who embodied the kindly, older generation that audiences trusted and loved. His appearances gave the sitcom moments of lightheartedness and sincerity, qualities that matched his long-established screen image. Even in his 90s, he continued to bring charm and vitality, showing a commitment to acting that never faded with age. Outside of his professional life, Burt Mustin was admired for his humility and quiet dedication. He was not interested in celebrity or glamour, but in the simple pleasure of performing. His colleagues often spoke of his kindness, patience, and sense of humor behind the scenes. His decision to pursue acting so late in life became an inspiration to others, proof that it is never too late to follow a passion. His death in 1977 was widely mourned. Although he had rarely been a leading man, he was instantly recognizable to generations of viewers who had grown up with him on their television screens. Burt Mustin's legacy endures as the gentle face of classic television, a reminder of the power of character actors to enrich the stories of others while leaving their own quiet mark on history. Number 7. Carmine Corridi. On the 29th of May in the year 2019 in Los Angeles, California, he died at the age of 85. The cause was complications from a fall that left him in a coma. His passing brought an end to the life of an actor whose career carried both high-profile roles and a controversy that made him a unique figure in Hollywood history. He was best remembered for his connection to the Godfather films. In The Godfather Part 2 and The Godfather Part 3, he played Carmine Rosado, a character caught in the violent web of crime and loyalty. Though not a leading role, his appearance in such iconic films secured his place in cinematic memory. His strong presence and authentic New York manner made him a believable figure in the world Francis Ford Coppola had created. His career stretched across decades and included work in both television and film. He appeared on shows like Phyllis during the 1970s, taking on guest roles that highlighted his versatility. He was equally comfortable in dramas, comedies, or crime stories, and he built a reputation as a dependable supporting actor. Viewers recognized him as a familiar face who added credibility to whatever project he joined. One of the most unusual chapters of his life came in the early 2000s, when he became the first actor ever expelled from the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. The reason was linked to his decision to share screeners of award season films with a friend, who then leaked them online. The event drew headlines and placed him in an unwanted spotlight, overshadowing his long record of steady work. Despite this, he remained active in the industry and continued to act, never allowing the setback to erase his contributions. In his personal life, he was known for warmth and humor, qualities that made him well-liked among colleagues. Stories from those who worked with him described a man who loved the craft of acting and treated people with generosity. He kept working late into his life, taking roles in television shows and films that allowed him to remain connected to the profession he cherished. When he died in 2019, tributes remembered him not only as part of the Godfather legacy, but also as an actor who left behind a wide and varied career. Carmine Caridi's life story reflected both the triumphs and the pitfalls of Hollywood, a reminder of how even supporting players can leave behind unforgettable moments on screen. Number 8. Richard Schaal. On the 4th of November in the year 2014 in Woodland Hills, California, he died at the age of 86. The cause was not publicly disclosed, but his death was noted as peaceful and natural. His passing ended the life of an actor who had been a familiar face in American television, especially within the Mary Tyler Moore universe of shows that shaped comedy in the 1970s. He began his career on stage in Chicago, where he became part of the legendary Second City improvisational troupe. His work there helped sharpen the timing and versatility that would define his later television career. The ability to react quickly and deliver humor naturally became his trademark, and it earned him a path into Hollywood at a time when improvisational comedy was gaining respect as a training ground for great performers. In the 1970s, he appeared in several shows tied to the Mary Tyler Moore family, including The Mary Tyler Moore Show, Rhoda, and Phyllis. On Phyllis, he played Leo Heatherton, a character who added both eccentricity and warmth to the series. His presence gave the sitcom a playful unpredictability, and his chemistry with Cloris Leachman created memorable moments that stood out even in a crowded field of comic talent. His role in the show captured the lighthearted spirit of the era, while allowing his improvisational roots to shine through. Beyond the Mary Tyler Moore circle, Richard Schaal worked steadily in television. He guest starred on The Dick Van Dyke Show, That Girl, and The Bob Newhart Show, always bringing humor and personality to his characters. Though often cast in supporting parts, he made them memorable with his expressive face and lively delivery. He was never a household name, but he was one of those performers viewers instantly recognized, even if they did not know his name. In his personal life, he was once married to actress Valerie Harper, another star of the Mary Tyler Moore legacy. Their marriage connected him more deeply with the circle of shows that defined American comedy at the time. Friends and colleagues remembered him as a generous performer who enjoyed collaboration and encouraged others to embrace the joy of acting. His death in 2014 marked the loss of another link to the golden age of television comedy. Richard Schaal's contributions may have been understated, but they added color and energy to every series he joined, ensuring his place in the fabric of classic American television. Number 9. Judith Lowry. On the 18th of November, in the year 1976 in New York City, she died at the age of 86. The cause was a heart attack that struck only a few days after she had filmed a wedding episode of Phyllis. Her passing was sudden and deeply felt, not only because of her age, but because she had just delivered some of her most memorable work in front of the cameras. She had spent decades working as a stage actress before she found television success late in life. Her early years were filled with performances in regional theaters and smaller productions, where she built her skills and reputation as a dependable actress. For much of her career, she remained in the background of the industry, known more to fellow performers than to the larger public. Yet, her persistence paid off, and in her final years, she achieved the recognition that had long eluded her. On Phyllis, she played Mother Dexter, a sharp-tongued and eccentric elderly woman who became one of the most popular characters on the series. Her timing, wit, and ability to deliver biting lines with a mischievous sparkle made her a scene stealer. Viewers loved her because she represented the spirit of independence and humor in old age, showing that life could still be full of laughter and surprises even in the later years. Her sudden death created a poignant moment in television history. Just days earlier, she had filmed the marriage of her character to Judge Jonathan Dexter, played by Henry Jones, in an episode that became a classic of the show. The joy of that storyline contrasted painfully with the real-life tragedy that followed. Fans who watched the wedding on television soon learned that Judith Lowry had passed away, giving the episode an unintended layer of sadness and meaning. Colleagues described her as a professional who embraced her late-found fame with gratitude and energy. She brought decades of stage experience to her work, and she approached her television role with the same seriousness she had always given to acting. She proved that an actress did not need to be young to captivate an audience, and her performance inspired respect across the industry. Her death in 1976 left a lasting mark. Judith Lowry became a symbol of perseverance, someone who reached widespread success only near the end of her life, yet managed to leave behind a character remembered with affection. Her story remains one of the most touching chapters in the history of Phyllis and in American television comedy. Number 10. Jane Rose. On the 31st of June in the year 1979 in New York City, she died at the age of 66. The cause was cancer, an illness she had battled quietly while continuing to work as an actress. Her passing took away a performer who had built a long and steady career in theater and television, remembered especially for the warmth she brought to every role. She began her career on the stage, appearing in plays that highlighted her natural elegance and ability to bring dignity to her characters. Through the 1940s and 1950s, she built a reputation as a reliable actress in regional and Broadway productions, admired for her composure and sincerity. Her training and experience in live theater gave her the timing and presence that would serve her well when she later turned to television. On Phyllis, she became Audrey Dexter, the refined and good-natured mother-in-law of Cloris Leachman's character. Her performance balanced the sharper humor of the series with a tone of grace and steadiness. She played Audrey as both understanding and occasionally exasperated, a woman caught in the swirl of Phyllis's dramatic personality but always maintaining her dignity. The role fit her perfectly and allowed her to shine as part of the ensemble cast. She also appeared in other popular television series during the 1970s, including The Mary Tyler Moore Show and Rhoda, further strengthening her connection to that celebrated circle of comedies. Her presence in these shows tied her to one of the most influential moments in American television, where strong female characters and sharp writing helped redefine sitcoms. Viewers grew attached to her familiar face and warm delivery, which added depth to the humor around her. Outside of television, Jane Rose was admired as a generous and thoughtful colleague. Friends remembered her kindness, her sense of humor, and her devotion to her craft. She did not chase celebrity or headlines, but worked with quiet consistency, focusing on creating honest characters. Her professionalism and warmth made her respected by directors and fellow actors alike. Her death in 1979 came too soon, leaving unfinished the career of an actress who still had much to give. Yet, in her short time on screen, she left behind a lasting impression. Jane Rose's Audrey Dexter remains part of the charm of Phyllis, a reminder of the strength and grace she carried into every performance. Number 11. Barbara Colby. On the 31st of July in the year 1975 in Los Angeles, California, she died at the age of 36. The cause was multiple gunshot wounds after she and a colleague were attacked in a parking lot following an acting class. Her sudden death shocked Hollywood, as the crime was never solved and the randomness of the violence cut short the life of a rising star. She had begun her career on stage, earning praise for her performances in regional theater and eventually moving to Broadway. Her presence and ability to convey both humor and vulnerability caught the attention of casting directors. This led to her transition into television during the early 1970s. where she quickly became known for her versatility and natural charm. In her brief but memorable career on television, she appeared on shows such as Columbo and Gunsmoke, displaying an ease with both drama and comedy. She was chosen to play Julie Erskine on the sitcom Phyllis, a role that promised to bring her widespread recognition. Julie was introduced as Phyllis Lindstrom's supportive friend and confidant, a character who provided warmth and grounding within the often chaotic world of the show. Barbara Colby's performance was well received, and critics noted that she had the potential to become a television star. Her life ended only 3 episodes into the run of Phyllis. The producers were forced to write her character out of the series, and her absence left a noticeable gap. For fans who had just begun to know her, the news of her murder was devastating. Her death became one of the most tragic moments in American television history, not because of scandal or decline, but because of the senseless loss of a young woman at the height of her promise. Colleagues remembered her as bright, dedicated, and deeply committed to her craft. She had a future that seemed limitless, with opportunities in both film and television opening before her. The tragedy of her murder overshadowed the joy she had brought to audiences, but it also ensured that her name would never be forgotten. Her story remains haunting because it represents the fragility of life in Hollywood, where success can be cut short in an instant. Barbara Colby left behind a legacy of potential unfulfilled, a reminder of how fleeting both fame and life itself can be. Number 12. John Lawler. On the 1st of January in the year 2025 in Los Angeles, California, he died at the age of 85. The cause was not publicly detailed, though it was noted that he had been in declining health during his final years. His passing marked the end of a career that had touched both television and film, remembered most for his steady work in character roles. He was best known for his role as Headmaster Stephen Bradley on the sitcom The Facts of Life, where his performance in the early seasons gave structure to the series. His ability to portray authority with a touch of humor made him a memorable figure for audiences who followed the lives of the young students on the show. Though his run on the program was brief, his presence helped establish the tone of a sitcom that would go on to last nearly a decade. On Phyllis, he appeared as Leonard Marsh during the 2nd season, a role that allowed him to contribute to the ensemble energy of the Mary Tyler Moore spin-off universe. His character added a practical and grounded counterbalance to the eccentricity of Cloris Leachman's Phyllis Lindstrom. Even in smaller roles, he carried a quiet authority that made his performances stand out. His career extended beyond these 2 shows. He worked steadily through the 1970s and 1980s, with guest appearances on series such as Alice, The Rockford Files, and Barney Miller. In film, he played supporting parts, often cast as officials, educators, or professionals, roles that fit his demeanor and voice. He built a resume that reflected consistency rather than stardom, proving that longevity in Hollywood could be earned through dedication and craft. In his personal life, he was admired for his generosity and professionalism. Colleagues spoke of his calm presence on set and his willingness to support younger actors. He was never drawn to publicity or headlines, but preferred the steady rhythm of acting, auditioning, and working. His devotion to the craft was clear in the way he approached even the smallest role with seriousness. His death in 2025 was noted by fans who remembered him not only from The Facts of Life, but also from the wide range of television roles he played across decades. John Lawler's legacy is that of a steady, hard-working performer whose characters gave weight and realism to the stories of others, leaving behind a body of work that continues to be appreciated. Number 13. Garn Stevens. On the 14th of April in the year 2023 in Los Angeles, California, she died at the age of 78. The cause was not publicly disclosed, though her family confirmed her passing with tributes that celebrated her life as both an actress and a writer. Her death closed the chapter on a career that bridged stage, film, and television, leaving behind work remembered for its creativity and depth. She began as a stage performer, appearing on Broadway in the musical Father's Day before transitioning into film and television. Her background in theater gave her a command of dialogue and presence that translated naturally to the screen. She quickly became recognized as a versatile actress who could bring both intensity and humor to her roles. In the mid-1970s, she joined the cast of Phyllis in its 2nd season, playing Harriet Hastings. Her role added a new dynamic to the sitcom, blending seamlessly into the ensemble led by Cloris Leachman. Her performance carried warmth and intelligence, providing balance to the show's sharp comedic rhythm. Though her time on the series was limited, she left an impression as part of the celebrated Mary Tyler Moore universe. Her most widely known film role came in Halloween 3: Season of the Witch, released in 1982. She played Marge Gutman, whose shocking fate in the story became one of the most memorable moments of the movie. The performance secured her a place in cult cinema history, with horror fans continuing to recall her character decades later. She also made appearances on shows such as Heart to Heart, Falcon Crest, and Beauty and the Beast, always demonstrating her adaptability across genres. Beyond acting, Garn Stevens was also a writer. She wrote episodes for television, including work on the hit series St. Elsewhere. Her creative voice extended beyond performance into storytelling, showing her wide range of talent within the entertainment industry. This dual contribution set her apart, making her a figure respected not only as an actress, but also as a creator. Her passing in 2023 was mourned by colleagues and fans alike, who celebrated her as a woman of many gifts. Garn Stevens' life represented the richness of pursuing art in multiple forms, and her legacy remains in the characters she played and the stories she helped to write. Thank you for watching. And if you enjoy discovering the hidden stories of Hollywood's past, do not forget to subscribe. See you in the next video.